We must prove that we are not unjust and cruel ourselves, or why should anyone fight? I have to stay here, Mary. I've abandoned China once before and can't do it again.
At that moment, a large object is thrown over the wall into Jim and Mary's garden. For a moment, they think it is a bomb. It turns out to be a bulky document.
Madame Jack! I've been lied to.
Where did you get that document, Mr. Endicott?
Oh, it doesn't matter where I go.
It matters very much.
What matters is whether it is true. Is it true that Zhou Mingdan has a plan to liquidate the communists once the Japanese are driven back? And I want an answer. If this is government policy, then all of this talk about national unity is a cynical sham. And I am pathetic. You.
The plan you have there was turned down. It is not government policy.
What's happened? What's become of all the brave new promises? What do you mean? Well, everything that was going to be done, land reform, for example. Young Chai-chek has been talking about giving land to the peasants for years.
Personally, I am all in favor of land reform. But I think at the moment it would be very dangerous to attempt. The communists would certainly take advantage of it.
Are there so many communists in this area?
Very many.
They're everywhere. So how do you know who's a communist?
Anyone who's in favor of land reform.
Jim marches into the office of Madame Chang.
Excuse me, Madame Chang. Where's Jia Tingyi? Where is she? I went to her office this morning and I ran into a total stranger.
Oh dear, did nobody tell you? Dear Jack-Ting has been reassigned to new duties. The Communist Party decided she could be more useful in another sector.
I'm afraid I find that very hard to believe, and I find that nobody is telling the truth around me.
Mr. Endicott, my husband has asked me to tell you that you should tread very carefully.
So what do they mean by that?
Generalissimo means that anyone who is not a friend is likely to be an enemy.
I see.
It would be unwise to let oneself be used by subversive elements. We have two diseases here in China, the Japanese and the communists. The Japanese are only a disease of the skin. Communists are a disease of the heart.
Let me assure you that as long as the Kuomintang remains faithful to the ideals that you have expressed so eloquently, I will remain faithful to the Kuomintang.
Jim is meeting with Yang Shao, who is still on Zhou Enlai's staff in Chongqing.
Now, Sean, you've been meeting for several weeks and you haven't said anything about Jia Tingyi. You're still in touch with her? Where did she go when she left Chongqing?
Jia Tingyi didn't leave Chongqing.
Madame Jack told me.
She didn't leave.
Why?
She was arrested. Several of the new life secretaries. All those from the Communist Party were arrested. They said that they were overzealous in their campaign against corruption. They said they abused their power. They were taken to police headquarters, were beaten, they were tortured with cigarettes, some were raped, and shot in the back of the head.
Madame Dragonfly?
She didn't have to know. Many others have died. She doesn't have to know. Please forgive me for the distress I've caused. We go on fighting. We fight for Xia Tingying and for the many others.
Jim is preaching a Sunday sermon. He is angry and tense. In the front row of the church sits Liu Li, his family.
So what are we to do when we learn such outrages? When we learn that they are committed by stooges of the government itself? Shall we complain to the government officials? But it is the government officials who are complicit in these outrages. We are coming to see that Kuomintang, who have asked us for our faith and our loyalty, are breaking faith with the people of China every day. So where are we to turn? Shall we complain to the leaders of the Christian church? But what if the Christian church has chosen to remain deaf and blind to what it knows is happening, and what if the Christian church chooses to walk on the other side of the road? And how can we persist any longer in the shameful abdication of our responsibility to truth and justice? And for myself, I can no longer remain deaf and blind. I can no longer walk abide on the other side.
The church is stunned and silent. Lu Li sits impassively, staring straight in front of him. Jim leaves the pulpit. His place is taken by Pastor Yang Zhang.
Let us now praise the Lord with a canticle. How lovely are thy works.
No.
Oh, gracious Lord. How gracious are thy ways. And
No, Zhang Zhang, this is a mockery.
my friend, we are in a house of prayer gathered together for Christian worship. This is no place for violent anger. This is no place for politics.
Then, my dear friend and my dear brother, I am no longer sure that this is a place for me.
Jim Endicott rises to his feet, looks steadily at Yang Zhang and Lu Li, then turns on his heel and walks firmly out of the church.